What would you do if you had to make someone smile? Imagine what you would actually do to make someone genuinely smile. Would you crack a joke or do a silly little dance? Perhaps do a funny little British accent maybe? Okay. Now change that sentence and replace it with any word you could possibly imagine. What would you do if you had to make a shrimp smile? How about Satan, or a depressed man, or even a literal bottle of fucking ketchup? These questions are all quite difficult to answer, trust me, I know, but let me ask you an even easier question. Do you love to smile? Of course you do. If you don't, then seek help immediately. No, I'm dead serious. Here's the number. Please seek help immediately right now. Adult Swim. It's a cool little network. Probably a channel most of us have grown up with at some point in time. I'm pretty sure we can all remember going to sleep at a certain time and waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning to see this motherfucker staring back into your soul. And for me personally, this scared the ever-living shit out of me. But I watched it anyways, and from that point on, I managed to fall in love with Adult Swim. Me and Adult Swim are now happily married with 3 beautiful kids. Subby, Adultette, and wee little Swim Jr. But in recent years, the content on Adult Swim has been, kinda hit or miss recently, which is usually normal for the channel because alongside its hits, Adult Swim always had its more obscure and underground shows, like Super Gel and Mr. Pickles, and that's usually why people loved it. But recently, and you could probably blame a specific virus for this, a lot of Adult Swim shows haven't been resonating with me recently. For every Primal, you have a teenage euthanasia. For every Tuca and Birdie, you have a Mama Named Me Sheriff. God, I hate this shit. I hate this show so much. And that's not to discredit the hard work these series animators and artists put into these shows, or saying you can't like these series. But outside of Rick and Morty and a few others, Adult Swim has been a little inconsistent with its overall fan ratings. But just when I thought I was right, just like everything else in my life, I was immediately proven wrong with... Smiling Friends is a feel-good show, both in a metaphorical and a literal sense. Its main purpose is to specifically make you and the characters within the show smile, and I'd say it succeeds at both. Smiling Friends follows a group of little creatures called Critters, Pim, Charlie, Glup, Alan, Vince McMahon, and Smormu, that go on wacky quests to do the impossible task of making an individual smile, which sounds very easy on paper, but when putting into actual motion seems way harder than it actually is, the primary focus usually being Pim and Charlie. Also, Glup and Alan are there sometimes too, but they don't really do too much overall, where they be by having Pim and Charlie going on the most stereotypical magical quest to unintentionally kill someone's stalker, having a mentally declining man letting out his murderous rage by killing off glorified infants, or having Charlie literally die just so he can learn a valuable lesson. There's almost always a guarantee someone is going to be smiling by the end of each episode, and that applies for both within and without the series. And I believe the reason for that is because the creators truly understand comedy. They understand how to use it, when to use it, and where to use it, by having the style of comedy change very drastically in each episode. It can go from awkward to absurdist or even edgy in a matter of 2 seconds, and somehow they manage to make it work damn near perfectly. In most adult comedies or comedies in general, you can always expect a few of the jokes to just not land. For me, there's rarely a series I went into where I actually laughed at every single joke that was being told. But for Smiling Friends, it's very different because even going back and rewatching it for the second time, I could not for the life of me catch a joke that I didn't find funny to some degree. Mr. Frog literally eating his competition, Charlie and Mib almost having hot gay sex, and whatever the fuck this is was also hilarious to me. And if you disagree with me, you're automatically wrong. I am not sorry. Also, as an African American myself, I gotta say I've never laughed this hard at a blackface joke before, and that's probably because they aren't trying to make blackface the butt of the joke just to be offensive, but more so the outlandish reaction to it. And I know some of you are probably thinking, Juice, you're being kind of a dick rider right now, man. You know it wasn't that fun. Yes, I am. With Zach Hadel and Michael Cusack being 2 figures who are chronically online, they know what their main audience is and exactly what they want. If you watch some of their earlier stuff from Oni Cartoons or even their current podcast, you can tell a lot of their natural found humor translates well into a show like this. But you don't really need to spend worrying hours online to appreciate Smiling Friends either, because it doesn't try to force an understanding of internet buzzwords and topics onto you. Certain references and Easter eggs kinda just pop up, and if you get it, you'll laugh, and if not, I guess you won't. Smiling Friends also has a good sense of visual comedy that's not only hilarious as a standalone joke, but can also be very great to look at. There's not many series out there that go out of their way to make the show look intentionally inconsistent just for the sake of a few jokes. In one scene, you'll have something that looks like it was animated by God himself. only for it to turn into the worst shit you've ever seen 2 seconds later. And it's that jarring switch in style that makes jokes land so effectively. Just look at this. You can't tell me this isn't a peak innovative comedic performance. Another great aspect that I enjoy about the comedy in this show is their ability to hold a natural conversation. Natural dialogue that feels so jarringly human that it kinda just puts a genuine smile on your face. When people speak naturally, they tend to stutter, pause in between sentences, say ums and uhs to find the words they're thinking of, and look, very natural while doing it. Smiling Friends takes that and amps it up to, 12. The characters look around and fidget and do human-like things while talking about the most random shit ever. And it's that sense of realism that makes the comedy so genuine. The character designs also play a big role into the show's humor, and I don't think half of these jokes would work as good as they do or be funny if these characters weren't funny looking. Some characters are drawn or animated in similar ways with the same style, but feel so different at the same time. For example, being Pim and Alan. These two characters definitely look like they're from the same show. They have that very cartoony children's book art style to them, with Pim always facing a 3/4 angle, whereas Alan is always usually flat on 2-dimensional space. And then you compare it to guys like this, or this, that are entirely 3D based and takes you a little bit by surprise. Or how they have characters that don't even have a proper walk cycle when there are literally characters in the same frame that do. And I know I don't sound overjoyed right now, but that execution alone makes it absolutely hilarious. Speaking of characters though, let's talk about these guys more. They aren't really super nuanced or complex characters, but they don't necessarily need to be. They usually have a few character traits and their interactions reflect off those traits and scenarios they find themselves in. You can tell Pim and Charlie care for each other, but that doesn't exempt them from having a good old-fashioned argument, inevitably leading to one of their deaths from time to time. The usual stuff. Or how Alan and Gleb casually argue about a stolen paperclip like it's the most important thing in the world. And it's conversations like these and much more that make the show so naturally funny and engaging. But yeah, Smiling Friends is truly something special. It's pretty great and it's pretty funny. It made me laugh and it probably would make you laugh too. I just wanted to tell you guys why I personally thought it was funny for absolutely no particular reason at all. Yep, Smiling Friends really does... Okay, sorry. Okay, Smiling Friends really... Sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing right now. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Smiling Friends really does